Hello everyone, this is Selva from IPL, and today I want to show you how to describe pictures in different levels. This kind of practice is good if you have missed a class or if you want to practice fluency, and especially to know which pieces of content you are internalizing more than others, which ones are you really using in your language, okay? Well, why should we do this, right? Why should we practice describing a picture? Well, this is a task that is required in various important international examinations. So it's always good to be prepared for these kind of tasks. It's always good to practice things that are part of international examinations. So whenever you want to take them, you already know more or less how to perform these tasks, okay? Also, describing a picture is an objective way of assessing internalization of content, such as prepositions, subject-person agreement, ideas organization, comparatives, tenses, and other grammatical aspects of language. A teacher can really see which pieces of content you have understood and internalized when you describe a picture, and you can also notice that. So it's a way of noticing a person's language level by analyzing the language used in the description. So if I am not really comfortable with the present perfect, I wouldn't use it in a description. So I know that if you are using it in a correct way in your description, you have internalized this content. But most importantly, describing a picture is a great way of improving fluency. It gives you a lot of information to talk about. It's an opportunity to understand and practice the use of intonation in speech because you need to organize your ideas. Your description needs to have different moments, let's say. So it really helps in using intonation to separate the moments of your description and practice the use of intonation. Also, this exercise of describing pictures will help us think in English. We will try to go see something and say that piece of vocabulary directly in English because we don't have a lot of time when we describe a picture, so we have to do it fast. See a tree, you say tree. See a person, you say person, girl, boy. So we try to think in English and not translate our ideas. So what should we expect in an A1, A2 description? Well, you should use mostly simple present with the verb to be and other verbs. Also present continuous when you're assuming what the people are doing, and some simple past and present perfect if you want uh, in your last comments, okay? But mostly you will talk about the objects, where they are, how they look, and you will use prepositions, colors, feelings, comparative and superlative sentences, right? And organize this as we organize everything in our languages, okay? So basically we will start in the middle. You see number one there is the most relevant image of the picture. It's usually in the middle. So start describing what you see in the middle, then go to number two, which is top left, then bottom left, top right, bottom right. You can follow these. You can follow other orders, but this kind of organization will really help you to describe everything you see in the picture so you don't miss any spots. Also, talk after you went through the corners, talk about the background of the picture. And finally, number seven, the lightning. Is it the daylight? Is it the night? What time of the day is it? And there you start assuming things, okay? So after that, you go back to the center, number eight, and you try to guess what the main characters of the picture are doing, and there you turn to present continuous and other tenses that you feel comfortable with, okay? So let's do here an example. In the center of the picture, I can see two women and two men, and also a dog. They sit on a blanket in the grass. On the top left, I can see some trees, and I can also see some leaves on the ground. On the top right corner of the picture, I can see that there is a landscape, so probably this is the woods or a park. Also, in the background, we see many trees that are illuminated by the sunlight, so it's probably the morning or the afternoon. I see they are smiling and probably they are talking to each other, so I assume they are friends having a picnic in a park or in the countryside. I see they are having a very nice time, and I would really like to be there because it looks really, really relaxing. That is one option of description. Of course, you can mention many other things, or you can mention less things, right? You can use more prepositions like next to the girl, I see a sweater, or they are holding paper cups, or any other details that you see, like most of them are wearing glasses. Any description, anything that is relevant for you, but try to have an order. Everything, all the facts you see first, and then your assumptions. Focus in the middle first, on the details later, and finally a round up of everything, assuming things about the picture, okay? So this is one way of describing pictures in A1, A2 levels. So for B1 and B2 levels, what is it really that we need to say? Should we say the same thing? So should it be longer? Actually, our description wouldn't be more than 1 minute. So one thing that is important to remember is that we have to be a little bit faster when saying our description. So yes, in a B1, B2 level, you are more fluent, so you are expected to say things faster, right? Also, you would use different vocabulary, not just the verb to be and go, have, and basic verbs. You should use other kind of verbs that, you know, show a little bit more of vocabulary, like presents, offers, things like that, that you will see when practicing your description. Also, you can not only use verbs, but you can use modals like might, could, would, and things like that. Use perfect tenses, and most importantly, use complex sentences. So, not just say people are walking on the street. You can say the cause, like you see there below number 1 and 3. You, in number 1, the first part of your description, you describe the most important thing. Okay, like in the other description. You will also go to number 2, which you will see the background, and start assuming things about the picture. And later you will mention the details and try to mention a cause and an effect, or two things, two ideas about what you see, and say those two ideas in one complex sentence. So this is what really shows a higher level of language. You can use even the modals, but if your sentences are not complex, do not have two ideas combined in one through conjunctions and connectors, then probably you will show a lower level of English, okay? So we will use connectors, and we will focus less on facts and use more assumptions on what we see. Why is this? Because an A1, A2 level is really focused on what you can see And a B1, B2 level is all about creating language from ideas. It's about ideas organization and vocabulary and describing things in a more detailed way. Not only what you see, but also what that generates for you, okay? So a description here will be less focused on the fact and more focused on your assumptions. So we can say something like this. The picture shows a great number of people getting out of a bus. There are also some cars parked or going around that area. For what I can see in the background, I can assume that they are in the mountains in the countryside. The people look tired and they look that they have been in the bus for a long period of time and probably they are going to spend a longer period of time in the location given that I see that they are prepared with pillows and comfortable clothing. So this is a short description of what I see. I focus on factual information but using a more complex kind of language, uniting two ideas in one sentence, trying not to use common verbs, trying to use verbs others than just the verb to be. And I try to use modals, okay? So this is the first part of the description about the main things I see in the picture. Now let's go to the assumptions and opinions I have on this picture. Personally, I wouldn't enjoy an event like this. Why is that? Because I see that there is going to be a crowded place involved. I also see that these people have been through a long process to get to the location and they are going to endure long hours of this event too because of the equipment they have with them. Personally, the most preferable activities for me to do in the countryside are with just a close group of friends and doing some more relaxed and less scheduled or organized activities. For me, relaxing is not just going through a nature like location, but also being relaxed and not in contact with too many people. So that would be more or less an example of what you can say about a picture and how you can relate the picture to assumptions you have and your personal experience. Remember, language is about connection, okay? So it's all about seeing something, triggering language on you, and then communicating something about you or other processes that you are related to, okay? That is language. It doesn't matter. We have international examinations to guide us through our process of learning a language, but don't forget that learning a language is using it to communicate your feelings, okay? So that is what you need to practice eventually in describing a picture. Seeing facts, understanding what's going on, and giving your own personal touch on that, okay? Okay, so these are two descriptions in different levels with some pictures. Try to practice this with these pictures or with any other picture that you find at least once a week. This is a very good practice for fluency, like I said at the beginning, and also for internalizing content. Um, this is really good because you can practice anywhere. You can find pictures anywhere on the internet. You can even look outside the window and describe what you see there, right? The images you see outside your window. This describing pictures is also really good when we don't have an all English context. Remember that your class sometimes is the only place and time in which you can use English. So whenever you miss a class, for example, it's good to do one of these practices so you can continue developing your speaking. And also, whenever you want to speak, you want to practice, but you don't know really what to say, how you say it, like you feel strange just reading conversations online, so you can use one picture and generate language. Remember, learning language is to generate language, okay? So try to be active in your learning, and practice with pictures is a very good way to do that. Thank you.